The information discussed on Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no responsibility is assumed for inaccuracies. No statement made on this broadcast should be construed as a specific recommendation of a particular investment product. Views expressed are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of CBS Radio. Use only as directed.
Smiles, everyone. Smiles. And prepare yourself for...
Show me the money!
Ladies and gentlemen, the radio broadcast experience designed to keep your wallet in top condition. It's Talkin' Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Talkin' money. Talkin' money. More money, more money, more money.
And now entering the studio, your guru for fiscal fitness, Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing?
Good morning.
We are, this thing's like falling off the hook here. We are back. Our tryptophan hangover is just about wearing off, and we're ready to roll here on a Saturday. It's going to be a good one for you if you have had too much to eat this week. We're going to stop that problem right now. And, got lots of things to do. How you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself,
You got your Run to Feed the Hungry shirt on there?
That's right.
Did you actually run, trot, or walk, or?
Yes.
All the above, huh?
Yes. I ran, trotted, and walked.
Yeah? Good turnout again?
Me and my 28,000 friends.
Kirk Hamilton has joined us in the studio again this morning. Is your microphone working there, Kirk?
Yeah, I think so.
There you go. Well, let's make sure we got our. Here we go. You got him in there. Okay, good. So Kirk is a client of mine, and sends me the long texts. And if you listen to the show for a while, and when I went back, when was that? Maybe even a couple of years ago, you started getting me on the no dairy. I actually tried a kind of a no dairy. I wouldn't call it a diet, just almost like a lifestyle change. I'm just said I'm gonna, on Kirk's recommendation, just try it for just a little bit. Don't get all crazy, but just take the dairy out only. Do nothing else. That was what he told me. Don't change your life. Just take out the dairy and just do everything else you would do.
Why lay off the morphine though?
Well, no, it's opium.
It's the cherry.
Opioids.
The cheese.
The cheese. So and I did that for probably 6 months, and my wife's like, well, it's not just dairy, it's just the calories. You're just reducing calories. But for me, and we'll get into this in length in the second half of the show today, because more people wake up at that point. We'll get after they finish their cereal, we'll finish them. But for me, when I cut out the dairy, I cut out all the other crap that went with the dairy. So no dairy means no milkshake. Correct. No milk in cookies. No sweetened cereal. So for me, it was almost like that was like an enabler for all the other junk that came with it. So when you cut out the dairy, that was great, but I also cut out all the other calories that went with it. And so I think that was as big for me as dropping a few pounds and feeling better, was that I cut out all the sugary stuff that went with the dairy that I liked.
Well, it's correct. There's also other things that go with dairy that are inflammatory. So dairy's got two things: the extra calories that go with it, the addictive component, but also it can cause food intolerant reactions and make you snotty, all kinds of things. So there's two components to dairy, not just calories, but it works.
Does it make me whiny and grumpy too?
It can. It can make kids whiny and grumpy. Well, I've seen that all the time.
It makes 40-something-year-olds too.
How about a cookie, Jeff?
Yeah, no, I got no milk for my cookie. So how are you doing? We got. Hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. We had our. We finally got into our house. So we have just been flat out busting ass to get that house ready for Thanksgiving. And in fact, we would tell people we're having Thanksgiving at our house. They're like, which Thanksgiving are you referring to? Because it ain't going to be this one.
Yeah, this year or next year.
Yeah, so we got in and got done, and we had probably about 35 people over there, and so it was nice. It was nice to kind of have a.
You bring in a porta potty, or how'd you do that?
No, I don't know how the septic system. Although I did look out one time, and it didn't appear to be functioning properly on the other end, but it stayed together. Nice. So we are
awesome.
we made it work. And we had a good time, and so we're looking forward to the thought now of having to get ready for Christmas. Just makes me ill.
You got your Christmas lights going up today?
No, I mean, it's like I've been spending so much time just trying to get the house ready to live in. Now I have to go put a bunch of Christmas crap up too.
My neighbor put lights up yesterday.
Well, see, I used to do that the day after Thanksgiving, because I figured this is the only free day yesterday was really like the one day that I have not worked. I mean, I didn't check my email. I didn't do squat yesterday other than just kind of work around the house.
Yeah, I noticed.
So I actually pulled my boat out and cleaned it. It's like the middle of winter. I'm like, why am I cleaning my boat? But and that's usually the day I put up all my Christmas stuff. But I looked up there. I'm like, God, I just cannot do that yet. I can't do it. But now here's the beauty. See, when we bought this place, there's a detached garage on the property. And I said, now look, ladies, because I live with 4 women, there's the barn, and everything's in it. Before I had to go over to the storage unit and bring all the stuff back over, I said, now here's the beauty here. It's right there. You can find whatever you want. And I'll also like throw one light out there I'll put a red light in the bulb thing. We'll be done. But anyway, I'm not ready.
Are those your daughters?
I have, yeah, my wife and 3 daughters.
How old are your daughters?
So my daughters are 14, 14, and 16.
So here's how you do it. Last time I put up Christmas lights, my daughter was in high school. I got her boyfriend to come over and help me put them up.
I'd rather put them up and skip the boyfriend.
That's true.
He's gonna have a hard time putting up lights with a shotgun to his head. So, anyway, we've got we're gonna give away a lot of stuff today. We got Kirk Hamilton is here. We've got his book, Staying Healthy in the Fast Lane, and we're gonna talk about that in depth after the midway point because I do want we do get a bigger turn in by about the 9:30 mark. So we're gonna wait a little bit for that. Give away a lot of his books today. There's some very, very simple things to do. That's probably what I like most about your advice and your things is it's not crazy. It's just there's simple steps. You can do this. We're going to talk about how, yes, you could eat out and eat fast.
My favorite topic.
Yeah, and so so a lot of little things that I think you'll find some gems in there, and we will mail out the books. We're going to give away about 25 books today in the second half of the show. So tune in for that. We'll mail those out to you as well. I did note a couple things that came up this week, and a lot of things I find very interesting. One of them is of course, yesterday was Black Friday. Today is Small Business Saturday, right? So if you're going to get out and support a small business, I hope you'll do that. I just find the whole, we're going to strike in front of Rayleigh's, or we're going to strike in front of Walmart, or we're going to strike in front of wherever. I find the whole topic fascinating from one aspect only. I find it fascinating on how it gets publicity, like how it's broadcast to us. And who's out there striking and who's not out there striking always fascinates me because usually you don't see any of the actual employees from inside the store out front striking. Maybe they don't feel like they lose their jobs. That could be part of it. And some of them, I think, are just paid strikers, which is part of it. That's fine. It's their business. But I guess I want to throw this question out. And I always ask, when Rayleigh's is fighting to prevent another contract that would be more expensive to them, or when Walmart says we don't want to become unionized, who are they fighting for? So, I mean, and that never really comes out. So why doesn't Rayleigh's just sign into the contract to be whatever they want? Because we don't want to pay $5 more for our food and our different items and stuff too. And I always find it that it never really comes out. Why does Walmart want to be the low price leader? Because they're the biggest retailer in the world, right? And so if Walmart's prices go up a little bit, they're going to pass that along. And so that part of the story never gets kind of put out there. And I'm not advocating that we shouldn't have unions or we should, and I'm not advocating, but the part of the story that gets left out is that if Rayleigh's just signs the deal, then they become less competitive, and Walmart's across the street. Now they're trying to do sales. So what they're trying to do is keep their pricing so we can still shop at Rayleigh's and Safeway and other places and go to the places we like and not be overcharged. And so there's so little profit in the grocery business. It's ridiculous how little percentage profit there is. And so I always wondered, what would you do if you walked in the store and the left, you walk down the aisle, the left aisle was we gave everything we want to the union price. And the right aisle is we've been fighting like hell to keep the prices down price. Which side of the aisle would you shop? Same brand on both sides. Which side would you shop on? You'd shop on the right, the cheapest price on the line. So I think that some of the coverage is a little bit unfair. That these stores are made out to be bad companies because they're not trying to, they don't want to just give away the farm. But the reality is that if they give away the farm, they'll still make just as much money. The payee will be us. And the bottom line will come down to us. So I always think that the store. Let's face it, the family that owns Rayleigh's, they probably got enough money that they could close down the store and not make it. They have enough cash. And sure as hell, Walmart doesn't need us. The Walmart stock holders, but these companies are fighting to keep those prices down. And right or wrong, that part of the story never seems to come out. So I always find it a little interesting on some of the coverage on how that goes, but. Again, where did I see? We talked about that a couple weeks ago? There was a guy who was running a restaurant. Where was that? Somewhere back in the South. And he had his normal pricing, and then he put a big giant sticker on there, and he said, "This is the Obamacare premium. Add this to every one of your bills because of the new changes. This is what it's costing me, and I'm passing it right on to you." And rather than just reprinting his menus and saying our price is now, $1.80 for the piece of pie. It's still $1.50, but there's a 30-cent premium for the Obamacare. And I think that is some of what we discussed here earlier today, is that people don't see.
Well, I can tell you, I look at labor negotiations totally different since I did my book. It could be a union, a municipality, like when I see the municipalities negotiating for contracts, in the cities or Rayleighs or whatever, because what's happened is healthcare costs have skyrocketed. And so they look at that and go, we can't. I mean, even my small business that I was in with my doc, we have 14 people. It kept going up $2,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $2,000 a month. Finally, we flipped to Kaiser.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't afford it anymore. And we weren't even using it. But I have a little different twist where I look at it as I understand why the corporations are doing it, but it comes down to we can cut healthcare costs, and that's why we're going to talk after this personally and individual-wise. You have to negotiate contracts that have incentives for their employees to stay well, and there is none. So if a labor union negotiates a contract for the normal sickness, we can't be competitive. And so we have to have some kind of incentive program where we do cover our employees, but they're working their butts off to stay well.
So do you think in that scenario, so if I'm the employer and John's my employee and I say, okay, John, I'm going to set aside, $3,000 for your health care this year. And if you don't use it or you bust your ass and go to the gym, you do all these other things, you eat right, and I only spend $300 on you, he gets $2,700?
That is the debate that I want. I interviewed one of the people that is involved with Whole Foods. So Whole Foods, we were talking about healthcare costs skyrocketing. His name is John Robbins, who wrote Diet for a New America, Food Revolution, very famous author. And when I interviewed him, I go, and he's on the medical advisory board for Whole Foods. And I said, how do you create incentives? Because they spend $250 million a year on healthcare.
Oh,
now, they can't discriminate, so they try to build in some incentive programs. So obviously they have the tools to do it. And what they did was their incentive was they get a certain amount, the employee does, back in, like, you get a better discount on foods if you reduce your weight, get your cholesterol down, etc. And I said, John, that works okay for that industry, but how do you take that to the auto industry? Because I think it was Warren Buffett who said, somebody said $1,500 to every car in Detroit goes to healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why we can't compete. Now, I would like the union to negotiate a contract, but the flip side is if we're negotiating for sickness, to cover sickness, everybody's going to get in trouble. We talked about China. 8 out of 10 deaths are chronic diseases. They're concerned about their workforce getting the diseases that are lifestyle driven because they can't afford it. So that's the thing that crosses all political lines. I have very conservative libertarian friends who own big businesses, and they're trying to cover their employees.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have a labor union guy who's one of my patients, and he gets it. The money that goes to cover those labor union guys in the negotiations is for sick care. We have to prevent disease. And as I said, 75% of our healthcare budget goes to diseases that are preventable and reversible. That's your responsibility, John's responsibility, my responsibility, once you're educated. If you're not educated, you don't know squat. You don't know that heart disease is reversible. You don't know that type 2 diabetes is reversible, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to educate people. Then we've got to create, and the national debate is, and I think it's a money issue, how do you create incentives? We should get liberal business owners and conservative business owners together and say, how do you create incentives for your employees to stay well? And then how do you create incentives, here's the sacred cow, for the Medicare group to stay well? That's mind-boggling, the money that's going to be spent.
And we figure we spend about 18% of our GDP on healthcare in this country.
Right.
And you think that...
Well, the government says, all right, so here's the simple numbers. 18% of our gross national product goes to healthcare. That's very big.
Mm-hmm.
China's like 8%, okay? 75% of our healthcare budget, or 75% of that 18%, goes to diseases that are called chronic diseases, lifestyle diseases, heart disease. They're preventable and reversible. We've proven that. That's the middle portion of my book. I give the data. Heart disease, type 2 diabetes. So 18%,
so
75% of
12% of that.
Our gross national product goes to diseases that are preventable and reversible. So if in a pure world, we could take that, put it on the national debt. We could give it back to our veterans if you want to do that. I don't care what, but that's the story. And not only will we save the money, but our workforce would be healthier. I mean, then we could compete. I think the cost would go down for the employer if there was incentives built in for the employee to stay well and employers could reduce their health care costs, then we can go out and be a little more competitive and maybe businesses stay here.
And one of the things we're going to take a quick break here at the break in just a minute. But one of the things so now we're getting almost into insurance, but so our company is doing the same thing. Costs are going up. So then I have to make a decision as a family of 5 and say, okay, look at. I can't afford to have that premium go up and up and up. So then I put a little bit of the burden back on myself and say, okay, look at I'll come in with a copay and I'll come in with these other things too.
Or a bigger deductible.
Right. So the bigger deductible. So now the incentives kind of switch back to me a little bit again. So my company said, okay, here's $500 a month or $400 or whatever the number is. And if you want to cover all 5 of you and you want dental and you want all this other crap too, that's fine. You can do whatever you want to do. So I've shifted the burden back over to us now, which is the decision we got to be healthy, otherwise we're going to be scratching a check. But that's not the norm, right?
Right, and that's what happened to our clinic. It's the exact same thing. Every year for the last 5 years, a lady comes in August and says, "Here's the thing." And it goes up $2,000. My boss is so we get rid of covering dependents, we get rid of the dental, we get rid of whatever. But here's one thing that people don't understand. And why it's important for everybody to be healthy, even though, and there's this. When I was a 54-year-old male, a year ago, when I was a 54,
way back then,
yeah, way back. Okay, my premium was $595, $3,000 deductible. That's what my boss was paying. So halfway through the year, it goes to $725. The lady hands me my pack. Goes, this is what's going to happen halfway through the year. I turned 55. I go, I don't even use it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The reason is the average person at 55 costs that much more. So it's a call on all of us. You can't see yourself in a vacuum. I can say, well, I'm just going to take care of myself and screw you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's cool, but I still have to pay for you. So that ignites me to go out and be on the radio and write a book and try to help people because we're all in this together. We are all in this together. And that's the classic example. And again, it comes down to, and I challenge all my business friends, how do we create incentives and government people to keep people well? I even said one time, I said, I don't think we should pay. Once someone's educated, I don't think we should pay for heart disease or type 2 diabetes. Everybody gets like really quiet.
Yeah.
Well, the reason is heart disease is the number one killer. We know President Clinton's the example. You can reverse your heart disease. We know Dean Ornish has done the studies. We know Carl Lesseltine, a surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic. So once you're educated, if you want to save a lot of money, don't pay for heart disease. And type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle disease, and it's an epidemic proportions, okay? You get people lean, eating lots of plant food, a little bit of animal food if they want, and it will go away. So the problem is, I was at a documentary of one of the stations in town like a few years ago on diabetes, and they were showing this film on the diabetes epidemic. And there was a guy up there saying, yeah, I'll take my medicine and change my diet a little bit, and he joked about it. Well, he's driving up healthcare costs.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're educated and once you know that you can reverse it, and I can lead you to that, there's that Weimar Institute is right up there in Colfax,
mm-hmm.
and they take type 2 diabetes. You go in their program. So what I'd rather see is if you have type 2 diabetes or heart disease, okay, before I pay for your bypass surgery, before I pay for $1 zillion of medicine, I'd rather pay for someone to go up there because not only do they get immersed in it, but they get taught. And when you come out of there, we ain't paying for your heart disease or diabetes anymore. Now, that's pretty radical, but I'm just saying.
No,
But we're going to go over a cliff. People don't. I give talks and I'm sitting there. It's like a tsunami. The first wave went out, and I'm sitting there. The people are sitting there looking at me, and I just see this wave coming, and they have no idea the epidemic of these diseases are going to bankrupt us, and also Alzheimer's is coming in epidemic form. So we're going to be living longer, costing more, and we're going to have no one home. All countries are dealing with it, and it's a modern lifestyle. We can get into that.
Yep. Let's take a quick break. We do have a quiz question for you, kind of a local one this week. I think 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140 if you want. Also, Kirk's going to be here the whole hour, so if you have some questions for him or some comments or some suggestions or some whatever, jump in, send us a text, give us a call. Go ahead, Johnny. What's our...
So Talkin Rush
Yep.
is a heating and air conditioning company out here in Sacramento.
Yep.
And, you got your heater probably tuned up since it's getting cold.
Yep.
And you might want to check out things before you have the installer come out and go through your ductwork.
Okay.
The question is, what did a local installer find in the ductwork of a customer's Sacramento home, and how much was it worth?
So what they find, so Clark and Rush, It's actually one of Lisa's, our PR person, her clients. Clark and Rush was cleaning out or replacing a heat and air system. They found something in the duct.
They did.
Work.
A little something.
Little something. What was it and what was it worth? Or where was it? You give us a rough idea what it was. We'll tell you what it was worth.
Yeah.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 44-1140. We're giving away one of Kirk's, actually give away about 25 of Kirk's books. So if you want a book too, you can give us a call. Even if you don't have the question right, we'll take your name and address and send you out one of Kirk Hamilton's books. This is Talkin' Money. My name is Jeff Tarbell. That's John Foderato. We're going to be
right back.
Talkin' Money!
Under attack, always coming in last, bringing up the past. No one owes you anything, I think. You need a shotgun blast, a kick in the ass, so paranoid. Watch your back!
Let's get back to action with Talkin' Money and your host, Jeff Tarbell.
Right. Maybe we should change that, your host, to fat ass. I'm looking on this list of things I can eat, and I don't think I had any of these in the last 48 hours.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, let's see. I'm going to wake up and have some lentils mixed with miso.
John said, Kirk, you can't come to his house at Thanksgiving because everybody would throw you out the back. We are...
what's this? Jicama?
Who?
Jicama?
Jicama? You've never had jicama?
No, I've had jicama. I'm just...
It's jicama.
We're talking with Kirk Hamilton. Kirk has written, produced, and given us a book called Staying Healthy in the Fast Lane, 9 Simple Steps to Optimal Health. And we are giving away 25 copies of that today. So during the break, we had some callers that are starting to call in. So you can do that now if you're interested in this book. And we're going to be discussing it now through the end of the show. We do have to take one more break, but we're going to be going through some of the do's and don'ts, and some of the easy things to do. And just during the break, Kirk handed us this list of BED, Basic Elimination Diet. So these are the items you can eat on this list.
Right. There's two things in nutrition. There's nutritional components in food that are good for you, but then there also is a component that you see in my kind of practice. I'm a physician assistant of 28 years, working in integrative medicine practice, primary care, but we focus on nutrition and integrative medicine. You can have a perfect food on paper, but if you have a sensitivity to it, let's say dairy, you could say, well, it's rich in calcium and protein and da-da-da-da-da. But if you're sensitive to dairy products or wheat or eggs, and I'm listing the classic ones. If you went to an allergist's office and said, what are the 7 to 10 top foods that people are sensitive to? That's what I've taken off this food list, because aside from nutrition, there's also food intolerance that can cause chronic ear infections in a baby. Okay, cause you to have chronic respiratory infections or sinus problems. Remember you talking about your sinus problems. So the first thing I'm thinking about is eating dairy and wheat, and is you got animals around them or mold or dust or whatever. So the elimination diet is, to me, the most powerful tool in medicine. I've seen, well, you name a symptom, and I've seen it improve by eliminating a food. So that's different than nutrition,
right?
But it's a component that sometimes gets left out, and I see people devastated. I can tell you horror stories of people who like dairy. Let's just pick out dairy. I mean, I've seen a child who was, 9 years old, grossly obese, and her mother's taken her and constipated for like once a week, and her mother takes her to 3 gastroenterologists, and no one ever asked her what she ate. Took her off dairy products the next day, she has a bowel movement. Chronic ear infections in kids, another one. Dairy. Get off.
And cheese is your big one. So tell us the cheese.
All right, let's get into cheese. How many drug addicts do we have out there?
If cheese is a drug, then I'm a crack addict.
Food is a drug because foods actually create neurotransmitters in your brain. But let's take dairy. It was weird for me. I've taken people off milk products for 28 years and seen all kinds of things happen. But for some reason, people would look at me when I say cheese and want to rip my eyeballs out. No, I'm serious. I mean, they would get angry with me, and then I would get entrenched and say you got to get off it. Well, it turns out that cheese is rich in casein, and casein is the milk protein, and in the gut it gets converted to casomorphines. That's right, opioid compounds. And I think that's why they get addicted, and some people think they get addicted, because I can tell you, cheese is a lot harder to get off of. If you stay off it 3 weeks, I don't know what the clockwork is. 3 weeks, the craving goes. 1 week, doesn't go. Milk you can get off in a week or so, but for whatever reason, cheese. And so I've stayed by that. Now you might ask, well, why in the heck would that nature do that? Well, because if you think about a baby going to breast and suckling, a lot of times they're irritable and then they kind of go to la-la land. Well, it may be to have the baby come back and nurse because that's good for them. But for whatever reason, so 3 weeks, stay off cheese. And don't believe me. I mean, just do it and see what happens in your life. All dairy.
And you said even the hard cheese is even the worst, huh?
Well, hard cheese is interesting. So we got into bone loss. We got in the calcium paradox. The countries with the highest consumption of calcium and dairy products actually have the highest rate of hip fracture. If you go to the World Health Organization and type in calcium paradox, that's what you're going to see. Now, you wouldn't think that by all the marketing.
Right.
Well, cheese in particular and hard cheeses create an acid load. So foods that create an acid load take calcium from bone to buffer the blood. Your body does not want to change its pH.
Okay.
So fruits and vegetables are alkaline. And if you think about it, the biggest animals in the world that have the biggest bone structure, I get this all the time, so we might as well answer it here. You know, what do I do for calcium? Well, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, gorilla, they eat green leafy vegetables. Not only are they rich in calcium, but they're also eating an alkaline diet that preserves their bone. The Western diet, which is high in meat, which can cause an acid load, certain types of dairy can, and even grains to a certain extent can do that, and processed food create an acid load. So what happens is your body takes calcium from bone to buffer the blood. Therefore, you need to take in more calcium. That's why our calcium need is so high. And in some countries, 500 milligrams of calcium a day is fine to prevent hip fractures. And that's how we judge bone, is by hip fracture incidence.
Mm-hmm. So now I'm starting to think my body like my swimming pool. I got someone that comes over and takes care of my pool, yet I'm going to...
Right.
So
you want to eat a more alkaline diet, which is basically you want to eat more fruits and vegetables for a wide variety of reasons, and beans. Those are more alkaline. So that should be the predominant part of your diet. And then you sprinkle animal food or sprinkle dairy, whatever.
So
we can invent a little tab that you put on your tongue. Oh, my alkaline's off. I need more of this.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it actually,
swallow a battery.
I wish it was that simple because it happens to be how it's burned in your body. But anyway.
And we're coming in before the break here, and we're just walking in the hall, and Kirk said, I can tell you guys that, you know, what you said one of the challenges you want to do is to be able to eat out,
right,
quote unquote fast food for 30 days and not put on any weight and become the guy on TV.
Right. Well, there was a book called we all saw it, Supersizing. What the guy did is he went out to fast food places and supersized everything and got really sick.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I want people to eat whole unprocessed food, ideally organic, ideally non-GMO, and eat from a farmer's market. But that's not my reality. My reality is I eat at the grocery store right across the street, shop, which is Trader Joe's, and they're quick and fast. Now, you can buy organic food there very quickly, but it's all pre-washed, pre-packaged. But I eat out. I've been busier than I ever been since writing the book trying to make stuff happen. And you can make choices. So here's a couple of rules. If you go to any fast food place and you don't put any creamy sauce on or cheese or dairy products, you're going to wipe out some calories. So, for example,
what are they going to have on the burrito then?
Well, all right, so
where's the good stuff?
Can I give a play?
I'd like to just eat the wrapper, please.
So, if you go to, let's say you go to Chipotle's, Taco Bell, or whoever, okay, you just say no cheese, no sour cream. And what I do is I put beans instead of meat. So you've already changed a couple hundred calories. Now, if you said, let's say you're a big soft drink drinker.
Mm-hmm.
So you go from a large down to a small, okay, you've just knocked out a couple hundred calories. And then if you go to water, you've knocked out more. And here's the other thing. If you take, I did a talk on this, and one of the big burrito places, Chipotle's, that big tortilla is like 400 or 500 calories. So if you had a bowl, you've just wiped. So and watch what happens. Put Chipotle's in your mind as you're going down the line there,
mm-hmm,
and the big scoop of the sour cream comes up, and and they're grabbing the cheese. And I always say no cheese, no sour cream about 7 times, and they still dump it on there sometimes.
Right.
But so if you went down and had beans, you can get brown rice, brown rice. Do the bowl. You got lettuce, and then unless you're lean, you can have guacamole. If you're not, if you're lean, have guacamole. If you're not, don't have it. But you skip this cheese and sour cream, put all the vegetables on there, and then have their mineral water.
But what's wrong with chicken?
Well, I can go into that whole meat thing. I happen to be a vegan, but a little bit of animal food isn't going to hurt anybody. Okay. Now, if you want to talk about what sucks our environment and is economically a very serious problem, then we got to talk about animal food production, because animal food production gives more greenhouse gases than anything, more than cars. Okay, and it wipes out rainforests, and it sucks a tremendous amount of water from our, agriculture. So it's not a necessary thing. It's like, if you like the taste of it, that's why we do it. And there's a great big business in it. But ecologically, it's a mess. And we don't eat free-range animals in small amounts of it. We eat factory farm animals that have antibiotics.
That's not what Chipotle says. It says these chickens live well before they
I got it. We don't have enough space to feed the world. I asked Lauren Cardane wrote the paleo diet, which is basically 60% animal food and then unprocessed fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. But I asked him, and he said, isn't it sad? He believes his diet is the optimal diet, that it's not accessible to everybody on the planet. We got 7 billion people, and if they eat like China's starting to eat, and India's starting to eat, these rapidly growing economies, you're going to wipe out more rainforests, more water pollution. It is not a very smart thing to do.
We got to take one more quick break because we got to go to the end of the hour. We're going to go give away Kirk's book today, Kirk Hamilton, Staying Healthy in the Fast Lane. If you want to check out his website, you can do that too, because there's a lot of you said a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of PDFs.
Free PDFs on my website, prescription, like the prescription pad, 2000.com, and then you'll see educational handouts, and there's a list of things that I can go over after the break that be free stuff that are really educational.
Yeah, and the book is a very easy read. There's some good things. So we're giving away Kirk's book. We're going to give away 25 of them today. So if you're interested in a book, having it sent right to your house, no cost, no obligation, and we'll even send you a piece of cheese.
Hold the cheese.
It says hold the cheese. Right.
Hold the cheese.
Hold the cheese.
No cheese, Jeff. No cheese.
But is this list in there too? This BE
Yes.
list? Okay.
I will go over that. Give me a second after the break, and I'll go over
Okay,
that.
so we'll do that too. So we got to we'll get those out, so you can start calling now, or you can text us your name and address if you'd like, and we'll get the book out to you to read, because it is fascinating. Even if you don't follow all the steps, and you can just pick up a couple of the easy ones like I have done. It does, each little step makes a little difference, and it makes a little bit better. So go ahead. We'll get another quiz question.
Another quiz question. When we come back, we'll talk about the other one too.
Okay.
I thought this was interesting. Where the red and the blue spend their green.
Okay.
So if you can tell me one of the top 10 items that the Dems are spending their money at, top stores, or the Republicans are spending their money. It's an interesting list. It's not really what you think, and I don't think there's any food on it.
There's no food on there. So this is out of today's Wall Street Journal. So where are the Democrats and where the Republicans spend their money? You pick one of the top 5 stores for Democrats or Republicans. You can either 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. We'll give out a pair of ski pass. We'll give out a ski pass to Sierra at Tahoe if you'd like to do that too.
Opening day today.
Is that today?
Yes, today.
Very good. We'll be
right back, Jack.
Talking money.
And we're back to Talkin' Money with your host, Jeff Tarbell.
Right. Final segment of the day. How you doing?
Everybody wake up yet?
If you're just tuning in, Kirk Hamilton is in studio with me. Kirk wrote a book called Staying Healthy in the Fast Lane, 9 Simple Steps to Optimal Health, and we are giving away 25 copies of that today. We're already halfway through, so if you are interested in the book, we will send those out to you on our dime and Kirk's dime, and thank you very much for doing that. Appreciate it.
No problem.
So, John, I skipped over. We blew right into the next segment. I didn't give away the answer. So Clark and Rush was replacing a heating and air system in someone's house, and they found what? Someone here entered diamond ring.
They found 12 baby food jars.
Yeah, like spitty food or what?
There's a little bit of gold dust in each of those 12 jars.
Ooh, like how much gold dust?
$300,000 worth.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, $300,000 worth of gold dust was found in 12 baby jars in the heating and air ducts of a home here in Sacramento.
So if any of you are just buying a new house, you might stick your hands around a little bit, see if you can find something there. I thought for sure we would find this is a true story. The house that we ended up buying was the people who had two before us had basically gutted the whole thing. It was just nothing but a pot farm, indoor growing pot farm. I'm always wondering, what am I going to come stumbling across here when guns or dope, but I think someone else has gone through the house. But we've gone through every inch of it now, so there ain't nothing there anymore. But he said somebody else found
another story guy, first-time home buyer. He found $44,000 in cash in the attic.
That makes the down payment a little easier to recover.
And he gave it back.
He gave it back?
Gave it back to the previous owner.
The previous owner probably didn't even put it there.
I was wondering the same thing. But
if you can describe each one of the bills, then maybe they're yours. So
how was it bundled? Where was it?
Exactly. So we're going to finish up today with Kirk, and we are taking texts. If you want to text us your name and address, we can do that. To 441140. If you want to give us a call, we'll take your name and number, and we will ship you out a book. And yes, my stalker fan there is asking for one, so I'll get her one as well. Okay, so we've got a couple things. I was looking on the back of your Hot Topics here. So really the book, 9 simple steps, but they're not all 9 quit eating this, quit eating that. So the 9 steps are broken down.
All right. So again, the first part of the book is what are chronic illnesses and why do we care?
Okay.
The middle part of the book is if we care, can we reverse them? Yes, we can. But the last part of the book is probably what most people care about. How do you live a healthy lifestyle in an insanely busy world? That's why 9 simple steps. So there's 3 diet steps, 3 exercise steps, and 3 mind-body steps.
What would be considered a mind-body step? Like,
well, I believe in being thankful every morning and evening just for what you have, and all the money people say be thankful for what you got. But I mean, just in general. 2 is I believe you need to be quiet. Now, I'm not a great meditator. I've tried to meditate and I fall asleep and whatever, but I sit down in a chair and just try and break the busyness for 15 or 30 minutes every day and just sit and be quiet.
So if my wife yells at me, shut up, does that count?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the last one people think is, wah, but they accept it all the time, is to image your optimal state of health or what you want your life to be. For example, we think it's normal to have an athlete say, if they're being interviewed and won the Olympics or whatever, I imaged every single bit of my routine. Well, and we encourage athletes to do that. Well, why don't you encourage people to image themselves lean and healthy? I mean, I have patients that by the time I get out of the exam room, I'm exhausted. And if they can't picture themselves being well, pretty hard to get himself there. So those are the 3 mind-body steps.
Okay.
The 3 exercise steps are you need to do strength training. I do circuit training. I'm in and out in 15 minutes. I think people waste a ton of time in the gym. Okay, so I'm in and out with circuit training. I like it because it's quick and fast. I dance a lot at night. I do some aerobic training with the Stairmaster. So you have strength training, aerobic training, and flexibility. I'm 55, and I'm telling you, I use Tony Horton's 10-minute trainer because I couldn't get to my yoga class. It's too much time. I don't want to do that. So he has a 10-minute trainer, and on CD, and I've got it memorized. And so you got to be flexible too. So
I totally agree in the whole yoga thing. In fact, we just had this discussion the other day. I said, you know what? If I never picked up another weight again and I just stuck with yoga, I'd be way the hell better off.
Correct.
Just more flexible, and frankly, if I can lift 215 pounds anyway on my own body weight, I don't need any more weight than I got.
Well, but people do need it because as you get older, number 1, lean body mass does better for your blood sugar and helps protect you from falling. And an elderly person, it's not just the bones that are weak when they fall. They don't have the muscles to get up from the chair, so they stumble and they fall and they break their bones. So weight training and flexibility get more important as you get older. In fact, I think you should give them, if you had an hour, 20 minutes of aerobics, 20 minutes of strength training, 20 minutes of flexibility training as you get older. So those are the exercise rules. And the diet rules are simply unprocessed food, 90% or more is plant food, half your food intake is vegetables, and go on some type of elimination diet. Either get rid of dairy for a month or eat off that list that I gave. It's called the bed list, which you can get on my website. If you go to prescription, like the prescription pad,
word prescription,
2000.com, prescription2000.com, you'll see educational handouts, and they're PDFs right on the homepage. And you can pick the basic elimination diet you can print out. I talked about China and the chronic disease epidemic. That's a very interesting one if you care about the economics. And then my favorite one is called Healthy Aging, and I have YouTubes on there of Sanjay Gupta studying the Okinawan centenarians, because if you think it's only genetics that people live a long time, you're flat wrong. In Okinawa, they have the highest concentration of centenarians in the world, been studied for 25 years. But they have an epidemic in their youth of the chronic diseases because the elders are eating one diet, same genes, same location, and this YouTube, this 3-minute Sanjay Gupta YouTube shows that the kids are eating Mac burgers and fries, et cetera, and getting sick. So go there, and then there's one on Bill Clinton. It's an article I wrote on Bill Clinton.
That is interesting, yeah.
So I think Bill Clinton is a perfect example of healthcare reform and what's wrong with our healthcare. He had the best health care on the planet, so insurance isn't the answer.
Right.
I want everybody to be covered, but it ain't the answer. He got the number 1 killer, heart disease. 2004, quadruple bypass. 2010, stents put in because it didn't hold, and he had the best doctors. His daughter, Chelsea's going to get married, and he wants to lose weight, and he also realizes that the stent's going to get probably blocked up again. So he reads Caldwell Esselstyne's, he's a Cleveland Clinic surgeon, follows his strict program. I have his interview on my website. And he's reversing his heart disease, lost a bunch of weight. To me, that's everything about healthcare reform and what we need to do. We need to create incentives to stay well. His was his daughter's. I think we need to create those and also economic incentives. And you want it to be covered by healthcare, but you can't just sit on your butt once you get covered.
And I like this one off your list here. Why don't we reward professionals for preventing disease? And I'm assuming that means healthcare professionals and any.
Exactly. The problem is that I think the solution to our healthcare crisis is we have to create more money being made keeping people well than rewarding people, not maliciously, but a cardiac surgeon, he's going to do the best job he can and gets this big load of money.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he want to prevent it?
Right.
And that's our whole healthcare system is ass backwards. It's bottom end loaded to let disease happen, then give economic reward and insurance to cover it. We have to create incentives for staying well and maybe little punitive things for letting lifestyle diseases, chronic diseases happen. And that's my biggest premise. We need to have a national debate on how we create incentives to keep people well everywhere, business, Medicare, because we're all in it together. As much as I'd like to think we're not, and I could just take care of myself like car insurance.
Yeah.
It ain't the fact. We're paying for the average.
We're going to take a call here in just a second. So we have a couple minutes left. If we are giving away 25 of Kirk's books today, we've probably got about 2/3 of them already gone. Just looking at the text here. But if you would like this book free of charge, mailed right to your house, we'll send that out to you on our dime. Kirk Hamilton, Staying Healthy in the Fast Lane. You can text me at 441140 if you'd like. You can give me a call at 339-1140 or 1-800-920-1140. Give us your name and address. We'll send you Kirk's book. I think, if I'm reading this right, John is on line one. Hey, John, you there?
Yes, good morning.
Welcome to Talkin' Money. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, gentlemen.
Good.
Quick question for the doctor. Very fascinating information this morning. Do you see any negatives in using a multi-enzyme as a dietary supplement? I mean, I don't have the perfect diet, so...
Well, a multi-enzyme... Well, first of all, I'm in the supplement business. I've been in it for like 30 years, so I like the judicious use of supplements. As far as a multiple enzyme, depends on what you're using it for. If you're using it for the digestive aid, fine, you can try it. But here's my quick overview on supplements. We can change without supplements and really save our healthcare system. I think supplements need to be layered on top of a healthful lifestyle program. In my own experience, I do supplements, we do hormones. People tend to rely on the supplement before they want to change their get off their butt, and that's my only.
I took this pill rather than going to the gym.
It's epidemic, and I'm in an alternative medicine practice, and people want to do that.
Yeah,
you need to change your lifestyle, then layer a supplement on judiciously.
John, I'm going to put you back on hold. We'll ship you one of the books out too. That music means we have about 30 seconds left. How are we doing on time? Oh, we got about a minute. Okay, we're doing good. So again, the book, if you would like to get a copy, we'll hang around here a little bit. And take some addresses if you want to text us. So you have to text us going forward, 441140. If you do it in the next 15 minutes, we'll get your book out.
Well, here's the other thing. If they run out of free books, you can actually buy it off my website. And if you type in the code RX42, you get 40% off.
There you go. All right. That's prescription2000.com.
Right.
So if you didn't get one of the free one, or if you want to buy a couple extras and give them out as some gifts, Christmas is coming up. So nothing you could do better than give someone a healthy lifestyle. That's for darn sure. And then also... I liked your comment there. If you're patriotic, you stay healthy.
I absolutely believe that. When we get serious about it, we could save 12% of our gross national product. We could put that to our veterans. We could put on our national debt. Being healthy is the only real healthcare reform. It's the only one.
Kirk, I appreciate it very much, and I will post the website on our Talkin' Money Facebook page too at Jeff Tarbell's Talkin' Money on Facebook or JeffTarbell.com. That music means we got to go. We'll see you next Saturday. Be healthy. Aloha.